Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now this is going to be the movie for What If Naruto was Tanjiro's reincarnation, and I want to thank all of you guys for 400 subscribers. It really does mean a lot. I mean, can't believe there's so many people who actually would like to subscribe to my channel and watch my content. So yeah, the 400 sub special is going to be coming soon, and yes, it is going to be a movie, so yeah, that is happening. But with that all out of the way, let's just get right into the video. Now, basically, how this thing is gonna work is, basically, Minato is gonna seal the Nine Tails within Naruto and Nezuko. So you might be saying, but Naruto doesn't have a sister. Well, now, Naruto in this What If is gonna have a sister called Nezuko, which is a very original name, but it fits, so I'm keeping it. And I don't know if Minato's Reaper Death Seal can do this, but basically Minato put 90% of the Nine Tails within Nezuko and 10% of it within Naruto. And this was not actually on purpose. It's just since Minato was already gravely injured from being stabbed or clawed, I guess, and pierced through the stomach, the seal didn't work exactly quite as planned, and the Nine Tails was sealed more within Nezuko and a lot less within Naruto. So, as Naruto and Nezuko grow up, Danzo ends up telling everybody that Nezuko is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and for this reason, everybody starts hating Nezuko and starts calling her a demon. Which, if you have watched Demon Slayer, you'll understand why that's incredibly convenient for our purposes. But nobody actually knows that 10% of the Nine Tails is sealed within Naruto, and not even Naruto knows. So Danzo never said anything about that. And since Naruto is Tanjiro's reincarnation, he also has Tanjiro's incredible sense of smell, which makes him really helpful around the village because he's a really kind person who, unlike in real or original Naruto, is actually liked by the village and helps people out a lot, doing work for the villagers and helping them out with his above average physical strength and his incredible sense of smell. Now, the only problem in Naruto's life would be protecting Nezuko, because everybody would hate Nezuko, and there would be people that don't like Naruto because Naruto is Nezuko's sister, and Nezuko is basically gonna look like, I don't know. You can decide what Nezuko looks like. Write it down in the comments, maybe. But basically, Naruto would always, end up protecting Nezuko from everyone else. And since Nezuko has 90% of the Nine Tails within her, she's gonna kind of be like Naruto in the original, where Naruto had whiskers and things that kind of made him resemble the Nine Tails. And since Nezuko has even more of the Nine Tails than Naruto, she is almost constantly going to look like a demon Nezuko from Demon Slayer. So that's generally what Nezuko looks like. And just Naruto ends up having to just defend her all the time because she isn't very strong, and the villagers keep trying to just throw rocks at her, and nobody really likes Nezuko, and people always keep making fun of her for being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, even though the villagers don't actually understand what it means to be a Jinchuriki. So, because of this, Naruto is probably happier than he is in the original, being for the fact that he actually lives with somebody else in his house, and Hiruzen actually took at least a bit better care of Naruto, because he didn't know that this Nine-Tails was sealed in Naruto at all, so Hiruzen took better care of Naruto generally, which did lead to Naruto and Nezuko having a lot better lives than in the original. So that's kind of how it is, and that's just how they do everything until the first day of the academy. Now, on the first day of the academy, everyone's really excited, and Naruto and Nezuko just head off, and they're just happy to be joining the academy. So basically, Naruto and Nezuko were like the first people to walk into the room. I mean, there were some other people who were there as well, but Naruto and Nezuko were mostly the first people there, and yeah, after all, they were probably the people who were most excited for it. Now, this is mostly because, well, Nezuko was, to be honest, they kind of just wanted a place where, they were away from all the villagers, and, a place where they could be with people who understood them and would be their friends. Now, it won't take too long for them to understand that the people, all the little kids, and the academy students here don't really like them. I mean, a lot of people like Naruto, but since Nezuko has the Nine-Tails, and well, Naruto too a little bit, but people don't know about that, so nobody really likes them. And they find this out pretty painful, they find this out the hard way, because after everyone else gets in, people just don't want to sit next to them, and everybody seems to be purposefully trying to avoid them, especially Nezuko. Now, the people don't actually hate Naruto, and a lot of people do sit next to Nezuko, but Naruto, but people usually avoid Naruto too, because he insists on being next to Nezuko, and the others insist on not being next to Nezuko, so they kind of avoid Naruto too, indirectly. But as class starts, it becomes pretty clear that Naruto is very skilled and probably a prodigy. Maybe not at Sasuke's level, but he is a very hard worker and very talented as well. I mean, from the start, Iruka can tell that Naruto and Sasuke will probably be the two best people here, and they both have high chakra reserves and seem to be very, attentive and skilled. Now, after some time, Iruka decides to have a test sort of thing to assess the levels of everyone and kind of understand how good or bad everyone is. And they start with a written exam. Now, Nezuko and Naruto don't do really well, but they're not the worst either. They're just mostly average. And in the running and durability test, they are both really, really good. And although Nezuko places about average, maybe a little bit below average, but Naruto is very far at the top, actually number one, beating Sasuke barely, because he is always used to doing lots of work and has a high amount of stamina. Now, the reason Nezuko isn't so far up is because she doesn't have actual control over her Nine Tails power yet, and so she can't really use it in any way as you might have expected. Now, after a couple other things like kunai throwing and other stuff, Iruka decides that it's probably time for a spar. And this was mostly for his own reasons, and he wanted to see Naruto and Sasuke fight, so he kind of just not rigged it, but he made it so that Naruto and Sasuke are sparring. Everybody else will be sparring with other people too, but Naruto and Sasuke are sparring. And people aren't really necessarily just fangirling over Sasuke. I mean, they are, but they don't necessarily hate Naruto either. So this actually, the favors are pretty even when it comes to both of them going into this match. And really, at this point, Naruto and Sasuke are pretty even in skill. Now, Sasuke immediately dashes at Naruto the instant the match starts because he really wants to prove that he is superior and just is thinking that he'll beat Naruto and prove he's the best. But Naruto also wants to win and earn the respect of everyone else here. And so they both really want to win this match, so they both go all out. And Naruto immediately dodges and punches Sasuke back with a punch equally strong, if not stronger. And Sasuke does have more skill in fighting, so he's able to block Naruto and sends a flurry of punches and just jabs in general to Naruto's direction. And Sasuke has an advantage in speed, so there's not much Naruto can do, but Naruto still decides to play defense and just try to avoid the punches and kicks Sasuke in the gut, sending him flying backwards. Sasuke immediately gets back up, and he takes out a kunai, throwing it at Naruto. Now, Iruka was about to step in to stop the kunai because he wasn't even sure how Sasuke got his hand on that, but Naruto was just barely able to dodge it with the kunai just scratching and cutting his arm a little. Nothing deep, but still, his arm was cut. But now, Naruto was kind of mad as he just ran at Sasuke with full strength and punched Sasuke into the ground. And he didn't stop there. He kept barraging Sasuke with constant attacks. But Sasuke leaped backwards, getting some space, and after catching his breath for 1 second, he started weaving hand signs and said, "Fireball Jutsu," as a huge fireball came out of his mouth, engulfing Naruto in flames. And although Naruto was able to half dodge it, he still took half the blow, which is an incredibly high amount, judging how strong Sasuke's fireball is. And Naruto was knocked back, and he just got knocked unconscious, and he was just passed out, and Iruka immediately sent him to the hospital. Later that day, when Naruto woke up, he saw Nezuko waiting for him and asked her how her spar went, and she just said that she sparred against Sakura and was able to win, although it was a close match. And Naruto just smiled and said, "Good job, I knew you could do it." And Nezuko was more worried about Naruto, asking if he was alright. And Naruto simply replied, saying that he felt just fine. And, the doctor came in being like, "Oh, Naruto, good to see you're awake. So, you don't seem to have any permanent damage, although the fireball did leave a scar on your forehead." And now, if you have watched Demon Slayer, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, Tanjiro has a scar on his forehead, and this is going to be how I'm giving Naruto this same thing on his forehead so that he can look even more like Tanjiro, which is going to be great for just having Naruto be like Tanjiro. So yeah, Naruto didn't sustain any permanent damage and he was just fine, but there was a scar on his forehead. Tanjiro didn't mind this. Naruto, oh my god, Naruto and Tanjiro at this point are so similar, I'm mixing them up. So Naruto didn't mind this scar too much, so he was just like, yeah, it's fine. But he was also kind of mad at Sasuke. He didn't have to go that far, but he wasn't mad. No, he was more disappointed in himself. He should have been able to dodge that. What if this was a real scenario? He would have been dead easily. And if he can't beat Sasuke, he won't be able to become a ninja like all of the other people out there. And he wanted to be Hokage, so if he couldn't beat Sasuke, he couldn't be the strongest person in the village. And if he wasn't the strongest in the village, he wouldn't become a Hokage. So Naruto decided that from this day on, he would be training extra hard every day, even harder than he normally does, just to beat Sasuke one day. That was his resolve after that fight. Now, the rest of his time in the academy went pretty normally, with Naruto and Sasuke consistently being the top two performers in the class, although none of them being able to get a clear victory over the other. But the main event that did happen came later, one day after school. Naruto and Nezuko were going back home together, and suddenly, Naruto caught a store. Like, from the edge of his vision, he saw a store, and it seemed to have a delicious smell coming from it. He was like, you know what, we don't have really good food at home, so maybe we should go check it out. And Naruto did have some money on him, so he didn't mind too much. And they were just heading off to the area when they entered, the person there, like inside the shop, he just saw Nezuko and was like, "You get out of my shop right now." And Naruto was like, "Yo, chill, it's not that big of a deal." And this man had some sort of crazy grudge against Nezuko, the Nine Tails, and he hated Nezuko for being the Nine Tails, or that's at least what he thought. And so the Nine Tails had killed this person's parents and daughter. So not really understanding what a Jinchuriki is, and not understanding that this isn't Nezuko's fault, really just had to take out his anger on someone. So he started chasing down Nezuko. Now, Naruto tried to protect Nezuko, but the man was pretty strong, and although Naruto could hold his own in a fight, he didn't really want to get in a fight. Now, Naruto just picked up Nezuko and started running, and the guy kept chasing them all the way into the forest, far from the village. Well, far from where the village was still visible, and that's where he decided to stop. And he just caught his breath as he realized that he had lost a person. They were fine. Which is when a kunai came flying at his face, and he was barely able to dodge. As he looked up, he had no idea what was happening, but he just saw that kunai coming out of nowhere. Then he smelled it, because Naruto has Tanjiro's sense of smell, meaning that he probably has the best sense of smell in the entire Naruto universe. Maybe Kiba's sense of smell is better. You know what? I think Tanjiro's sense of smell is better than Kiba's. Not gonna lie. I mean, he can smell like things that don't have a smell, if you get what I mean. Like, you know that thing where he smells that line between the enemy and himself so that he can strike with a sword? Like, bro, this guy has smelling abilities that are beyond Kiba's comprehension. So Naruto smells the person, and he instantly realizes that this person is quick and definitely a lot stronger than the person chasing them. Definitely not the same person, but who was it? As another kunai came right in their direction. This time, Naruto noticed something. It wasn't aimed at him. It was aimed at Nezuko. And he once again was barely able to dodge out of the way. But the next kunai came a lot faster, and it actually hit Nezuko in the leg. And Naruto was immediately in a state of panic, and after hiding behind a tree, tried taking out the kunai from Nezuko's leg. It was bleeding terribly, and Naruto knew that he had to heal Nezuko. As more kunais started coming from out of the trees, Naruto couldn't do anything. The kunais kept coming, and he had no idea how to stop them. Now, afterwards, after a bit of running, the man revealed himself. He had black hair and a interesting robe. In his hand was a long sword that looked like nothing Naruto had seen before. Now, Naruto was about to run away, but he noticed he had to fight. This guy was way faster than him, and running away would fix absolutely nothing. As Naruto asked who he was, and the man revealed that he was here to assassinate Nezuko. And he mostly referred to Nezuko not by her name, but calling her a demon. And so he just said, "Let the girl go and I'll handle this peacefully without hurting you." But Naruto yelled never as he picked up the axe that he had been carrying on him, because he always carries an axe on him, and he just did that thing that Naruto did when he was facing Tomioka, where he threw the axe and he threw the axe up, ran from the other side of the tree, attacking him, and distracted him long enough so that the axe could almost hit Tomioka, but he survived, as he immediately went to slice Naruto with his sword. But this time, Naruto was saved by Nezuko. And Naruto realized that Nezuko's wounds on her leg had healed, which definitely surprised her, but he had no time to question it now, as he immediately picked up his axe that he had just lost and just started running at Tomioka, as suddenly a bit of flame started surrounding the axe, but they disappeared afterwards. But even though it was just for a brief moment, Tomioka's eyes widened, and he dodged out of the way, not attacking Naruto, but just going away, being like, interesting. And then all he did was just say, "Kid, it seems like you have potential in that demon. It's very interesting." And afterwards, he just disappeared, leaving nothing but a small piece of paper behind. And on the paper was an address. Now, Naruto had no idea where this address was going to, and he had no idea where the assassin had gone. I mean, he said he had come to kill Nezuko, and then after Nezuko saved Naruto and whatever Naruto did, trying to swing at him with his axe, just the man seemed to have been impressed and satisfied, deciding to leave. Now, although Naruto understood nothing, he was just grateful to be alive, and he picked up the card, looking at the address saying, this isn't too far from here. I can walk there. And the only other thing it said on the card was, actually no, it said nothing else on the card. It was just an address, and that was all. So that is kind of where I'm gonna end off this episode. Now we're picking up back, and Naruto is just at his house serving the the card, the paper that has the address, and he just starts packing a bunch of food and says, Nezuko, we should go here. I just want to check out what this is. Honestly, I'm just curious. I don't know why I want to go, but I feel like this might make me stronger. And that's not exactly what he says, but that's kind of like, he says something along those lines, although he doesn't exactly know how to express his feelings and why exactly he wants to go. Now, Nezuko does not complain and is fine with just going wherever, as long as Tanjiro is safe. And since Nezuko does trust Naruto, not Tanjiro. Oh my god, why do I keep saying Tanjiro? It's just so confusing since Nezuko is called like Nezuko. So when I say Naruto, I kind of like say Tanjiro. So if I ever say Tanjiro, please understand that I'm talking about Naruto. And yeah. So they just kind of agree. And after Naruto packs up a bunch of food, they leave the next day. And although Naruto knows that he has to go to the academy, he just goes to the academy very, very early in the morning, before like anybody arrives, like hours before anybody arrives, and just leaves a note at his usual spot saying, Nezuko and I are off on a trip to maybe get stronger, so we'll be back soon as we can, hopefully. So yeah, and that's mostly what it says. And Iruka sees the note, being very curious, although just being like, well, they're gone, I guess. But Naruto and Nezuko go on a trip to find this address. And since Naruto doesn't really know where this address is necessarily, it does take him a while to find it. And it's also kind of far away, so it takes them almost the entire day to walk all the way there. But once they are there, all they see is a not tiny but generally smallish, medium-sized wooden house standing on the top of a humongous mountain. And Naruto, just seeing the look of this entire place, immediately is like, yeah, I think this is the place. As they go up there, and Naruto knocks on the door. And although he expected that person from earlier to answer the door, it was just a man with a weird-looking mask. Now, the man was wearing a blue-looking robe thing that seemed to have a wavy design on it. And he also had white hair, suggesting that he was pretty old. Now, the man is like, he must be Nezuko and Naruto. And Naruto didn't know how he knew their name, but they were, he just guessed that, if that assassin person, whatever, was able to find them, he probably knew the name, and so did this man. And the man just said, I've been expecting you. As he said, so, do you want to become stronger? As Naruto's like, yeah, I do. And he just asked, and how committed are you to doing this? And Naruto was just like, I'll do anything to get stronger. And just the man looking at Naruto could just see the resolve in his eyes, and immediately noticed that this kid had been through a lot and definitely would just go through anything to become as strong as he possibly could. So the man trusted him and said, "Okay, well, you see that mountain up there? You have to climb all the way up to the top, and then back down." And at first, this didn't seem too hard for Naruto, but little did he know, there would be a lot more to that mountain than just climbing up and down. Now, the man also said one more thing. He said, "And your sister, she can stay with me." But Naruto was like, "No, she'll come with me." And Nezuko was also already trying to be like, "No, I'd rather go with my brother." And the man just chuckled and said, "I expected that. But just know that if she doesn't want to go, she can always come back down." So, yeah, with that, Naruto headed off to the mountain. Now, sorry, I just took a quick little break, but I'm back. So basically, Naruto immediately went to try and go up the mountain. Now, going up was not hard, and in fact, Naruto was able to make it with almost no problems. And Nezuko followed as well, and although she did get tired, she decided to accompany Naruto and just follow along. And when Naruto made it to the top, he was exhausted. Well, not really. He was like tired but not exhausted. And he was like, well, at least the way down will be easier. But he couldn't have been more wrong, because as he started to step down, he immediately sensed something. As the instant he stepped on one branch, he could smell the kunai just flying at him, and he barely dodged, getting a slight cut on his cheek. Now, the reason I'm saying he can smell a kunai coming is because Tanjiro's sense of smell is literally so OP that it's like the Byakugan without the vision. So if I ever tell you that he can literally smell an attack coming, it's because he can. And Tanjiro's just OP in that way, so you can't say anything. But Naruto realized that the way down was completely covered in traps, and this is why the man decided to let Nezuko stay down. But Naruto immediately decided that if he was going to become stronger than Sasuke, he had to do this. So immediately he started going down, and he just kept touching tripwires, and there would be boulders falling down, kunais flying, traps made of rope, any trap you can think of, booby traps. There was literally every sort of trap, bear traps, every trap that you can physically think of, it's there. And Naruto does end up making it down, with Nezuko literally just carefully following from behind him, letting him set off all the traps and then following Naruto. But she's able to make it down safely, while Naruto, by the time he makes it down, not only has it been hours upon hours since he went off, but he is so exhausted that he is basically on the brink of passing out, and he also has sustained a bunch of injuries. Now, the man, after seeing Tanjiro make it down, he's like, good job. As he lets Naruto go inside and gives him stuff to eat, and also lets him rest. Now, Naruto, think about this. Naruto hasn't eaten in 12 hours maybe, because the whole journey and then climbing the mountain and everything, he has not had a lot of food or rest. So he just ate so much food and then literally just passed out, fell asleep. And so it took him a day or two to wake up and get back to full strength. But the instant he did, the man was like, okay, well, you're going again. And every day, the man just kept making Naruto go over and over and over again, up and down the mountain, through the traps and everything. And slowly, the man also started teaching him a bunch of like other things, such as the whole stuff where he brought him down to what was it? I genuinely don't remember. It's been a while since I watched this part of Demon Slayer, but like he does all the training he did to Tanjiro, and the whole like breathing training and the thing with the water, and he just does makes Naruto do all of that training. And this takes a long time. And eventually, after Naruto has mastered all of these things, and the man also I'll get to that later. After Naruto mastered all of these things, the man told him that he has to cut open a boulder. Now, this boulder isn't as big as it is in the original Demon Slayer, because in Demon Slayer, breaking that boulder meant Tanjiro would be able to go and participate in the Demon Slayer exam thingy, or whatever it's called. And since he didn't actually want Tanjiro to participate, he purposefully chose a big boulder that would make it so that Tanjiro couldn't succeed. But now the man gave him an average sized boulder to cut through, which was still extremely difficult, but easier. And he said that if you can cut this boulder, you can go back to your village. And Naruto, hearing this, was like, really? My training's over? And the man just said, I won't train you anymore. And just, says, it's up to you now, as he walks away, disappearing. And Naruto never sees him again. Now, the man also trained Nezuko, trying to teach her how to control the Nine Tails, power within her. And this whole thing where the man trained Nezuko got a lot stronger with her abilities, and she got a lot stronger physically, and she just gained a bit of control over the Nine Tails power she has within her. And so now it was all up to Naruto to break the boulder. And he kept training for weeks and actually incredibly long time. But eventually, he was able to do it. After an incredibly long time of just trying to cut the boulder open over and over and over and over again, he was finally able to do it. And at that point, he had been in the mountains for an incredibly long time, and at this point he had just grown his hair really long, like Minato's, but longer, because he hadn't had a haircut in more than months maybe. And this is why Naruto's appearance looked a lot different from what he looked like in the original. But still, Naruto had cut the boulder, and this meant that he could finally go back to the village. Now, Naruto had no idea how much time had passed since he had come here, but he knows that it had been a while. If he was just lucky enough, maybe he would be able to go back to the village in time for, the end of the academy. And just maybe he would be able to catch up, get ready for the graduation exams, and pass. Now, Naruto and Nezuko immediately set off, going all the way back to the village, and after getting lost a few times and asking for directions, they made it back. And the instant they walked through the gates, there were a lot of people were confused and excited and unhappy at the same time, because a lot of people were, happy to see Naruto back, unhappy to see Nezuko back, and generally a lot of mixed feelings, and people were confused on where they had been this entire time, because they had been missing for months. And I'm pretty sure this took a lot longer for Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, but first of all, I'm the writer of this what if, and second of all, Naruto didn't have to cut as big of a boulder, so it won't take him too long, if you know what I mean. And the next day, Naruto went to the academy, and the instant he walked into the room, Nezuko and him just walked into the room, everyone noticed the difference immediately. Now, first of all, Naruto had gotten his haircut, finally, so he did look a bit more normal, although his hair was a little bit longer than what he was like in the original, so maybe something in between Minato and Naruto's haircut. And the other thing was he was wearing a robe. I think you call it a robe. That thing that all the only the ones with specific breathing styles. But yeah, so he was wearing a blue robe, just like the one the man had. A blue robe with wave-like designs on it. Now, there was a completely different air about both Nezuko and Naruto, and everyone could notice that they were both immensely more powerful than what they had previously been. Now, the one last difference about Naruto was that now he had a sword with him, and everybody was curious. All eyes turned on them, and it was just yo, is that Naruto and Nezuko? I thought they were dead or something. Now, after this, Naruto and Nezuko just walk in, and Iruka's just oh, glad you could make it. You're just in time for the graduation exam. I genuinely thought you wouldn't be here. And after Mizuki and Iruka had a conversation about whether Nezuko and Naruto should be allowed to participate since they skipped so much school, and deciding that, they probably were doing something productive when they weren't in school, so they decided to let them participate. And for the graduation exam, all they had to do was create a shadow clone, and Naruto and Nezuko, both being able to do this, were able to pass. Now, don't ask how Nezuko was able to do this. Let's just say since she trained with the Nine Tails, I guess, the Nine Tails doesn't mess with her chakra too much, so yeah, she can create a shadow clone. And with that, Naruto and Nezuko had both passed the Chunin exam. Oh my god, not Chunin exam. The whatever it is called exam, the graduation exam. And so basically, Iruka just told them to come back the next day so that they could be assigned to their teams. Now, the next day, Naruto, Nezuko, and all the other people who passed, which is I'm pretty sure everyone, just came to the area, and the teams were announced. Now, Team 7 is going to be Naruto, Nezuko, and Sasuke. Now, the reason they paired Naruto and Nezuko together is because they know that Naruto and Nezuko work well together, and so they just decided to put them in the same team. And for Sasuke, I guess, now, it doesn't really make sense to put Sasuke, Naruto, and Nezuko on the same team. It's just put the top 3 students on the same team. That's very balanced, but I'm the story writer here, so that's what I'm doing. Anyways, with that, they learned that their sensei is Kakashi. As you might have guessed, Team 7 had to wait for a really long time for Kakashi to arrive, because Kakashi is still Kakashi, which is why it's going to take him a really long time. Now, since I am putting Demon Slayer into Naruto, I might give Kakashi a breathing style. So if you want that, just comment. Anyways, with that, after Kakashi arrived, finally, he just told everyone to meet him on the roof. Anyways, sorry if you've been hearing a bit of background noise, because my little brother is like walking into my room, but yeah, he should stop around now. Anyways, they went up to the roof, and Kakashi just told them all to introduce himself. And Naruto said that he is Naruto, he likes ramen, and Nezuko, he likes ramen and spending time with Nezuko. He wants to become the Hokage, and he just does his whole introduction. Sasuke still does his emo thing where he's like, I am Sasuke Uchiha, I don't particularly like or dislike anything, and my goal is not a goal because I will make it a reality. It is to kill a certain someone. He does that. And Sakura is just like, I dislike a certain someone. Sakura's not in this team. Sorry, I just realized I didn't put Sakura in the team. Nezuko's likes and dislikes would be, hers would be very similar to Naruto's, where it's like, I like ramen, I like spending time with my brother, and I want to become a strong ninja who's respected by the village. And Kakashi's like, good goals. I respect that. So he just told the team to meet him by the training grounds tomorrow and not to eat anything. And so yeah, that's what they went to do. But that, right at the beginning of the bell test, is where I'm gonna end off this video. So, last time we left off, Naruto and the rest of Team 7 were just getting ready for the bell test. And remember, this team is not Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto, it's Naruto, Nezuko, and Sasuke. And if you don't understand what I mean, please do make sure to watch the other parts. They were insane, because, if you didn't watch the other parts, why are you here? And yeah, let's get right into it. So, they just came to the training area, and Kakashi, as you might have guessed, was nowhere to be seen. Now, after a while, too much waiting, Kakashi finally arrived, giving a excuse just like usual. And after, the Team 7 was like, okay, just come on, what are we doing? Kakashi decided to explain the bell test. Now, he said that he has 2 bells that will be strapped to his waist by these strings, and Team 7's goal is to get the bells. Now, the people who get the bells will be passing, and the person who doesn't get a bell will fail. If nobody gets a bell, well, they're all getting sent back to the academy. And suddenly, Sakura's like, wait, but if only 2 people can pass, that means 1 person has to get eliminated. And Kakashi's like, well, yeah, that's true. And Sakura was just like, oh, wow, this is much more serious than I thought. Anyways, Kakashi's like, okay, begin. And everyone goes into hiding, including Tanjiro. Oh god, I am so dumb. Sakura's not on this team. Oh my, I am so sorry, guys. So Sakura's not on this team, so she doesn't say that. She doesn't say, but only 1 person gets a pass. All of that was said by Nezuko instead of Sakura. God, Okay, from now on, if I ever say Sakura, know that I mean Nezuko. I am so sorry, but this is just like confusing my brain. Anyways, everybody goes into hiding. Nezuko and Naruto, not Tanjiro, decide to hide together, and Sasuke hides by himself. Now, Naruto and Nezuko form a plan. So basically, what the plan is they're gonna try and work together and at least get some information on Kakashi's fighting style and abilities and skills without showing any of their own abilities, and then try to use this information to get the upper hand on Kakashi and try to pull a trick that will be able to get the bells. Now, they realize that if they really want this to work, they're gonna have to get this is not gonna be easy, but maybe it will work. Now, immediately, both of them jump out of the bush. Nezuko coming from behind Kakashi, and Naruto coming from in front of Kakashi, trying to face him head on. Now, Kakashi's like, I noticed these two gave off a different feeling than the others. And he was right, because, Kakashi at this point can kind of tell that Naruto and Nezuko are a lot stronger than most of the people here. And as Naruto rushes in, Kakashi just stops reading his book, completely, because he realizes that he's gonna have to work pretty hard to be able to beat them. And with that, Naruto immediately goes in for a punch, with Kakashi blocking and then trying to go to the side and attack Naruto. But this failed because Nezuko was already ready, and she just kicked Kakashi, kind of like the way, I don't know if you watched Demon Slayer, but kind of like the way Nezuko kicked those, what was it called? Those ball things that the Tamari demon, I'm pretty sure those are called Tamaris, which is why it's the Tamari demon. But yeah, basically, you know how she does kick that. So she just kicks Kakashi with that insane force, sending the unsuspecting Kakashi flying into the tree. And Kakashi is instantly shocked at the teamwork and skill that this team has. With Naruto and Nezuko, the way they work together, it's almost like they can read each other's minds. It's just very interesting. They have this special teamwork that it's almost like when they work together, they're stronger. And Kakashi just keeps this in mind as he looks at Naruto and Nezuko rushing at him. And Nezuko kind of just keeps rushing forward, while Naruto almost takes a more passive approach for the time being. And as Nezuko charges in with full strength, Kakashi is, after a little bit of taijutsu fighting, able to outwit and outsmart her, just hitting her into the ground. But Naruto, having already expected this even, was ready, standing there, almost just waiting for the right moment, waiting for this moment to happen. And the instant it happened, Naruto was ready, as he just came in and used his own taijutsu skill to try and defeat Kakashi. And he was doing well for a while, but after Kakashi released his fireball jutsu and then started using his mud wall to protect himself, they didn't stand much of a chance. And that is when Nezuko and Tanjiro decided that was enough, and they could just go and, form a plan for the time being. And yeah, they just went back into the bushes and were like, okay, now how are we gonna steal the bells? Now, after Naruto and Nezuko went away for a while, Kakashi let his guard down and decided that they were off planning and they'd be back pretty soon, but for now, he could continue reading his book. He still hadn't seen Sasuke, so he was confident that he knew Naruto and Nezuko's abilities pretty well, but he didn't really know Sasuke's abilities too well, although he suspected that he wouldn't really have to know, and plus he already kind of knew how Uchihas were, so he decided that, it probably doesn't matter too much. And he was mostly right, but not too much, because he did not expect what was coming. Now, meanwhile, Naruto and Nezuko went around trying to find Sasuke, and Naruto, using his incredible sense of smell, was able to pinpoint his location, and both of them went to him. And after describing their plan to him, after some negotiations and Sasuke explaining that just because he's joining in with this plan doesn't mean that he's depending on them and he's still gonna pass, and he says all of that stuff, but eventually just agrees to help them. And with that, all three of them get into their positions and get ready to attack. Now, Sasuke goes in first, with him literally just running in out of nowhere and just coming in and starting a heated taijutsu battle with Kakashi. Now, the first thing Sasuke tried to do was throw a kunai to slash the rope that is holding the two bells that Kakashi has, but that didn't really work out. And then they just started fighting using taijutsu and everything, but eventually Kakashi started pulling out on top, and Kakashi couldn't sense Naruto and Nezuko nearby, so he just decided that Sasuke had come alone. After all, that's really mostly what he expected. But then, as Sasuke was about to start weaving hand signs, he sensed it. Naruto and Nezuko were here, and so Sasuke started weaving hand signs for fireball jutsu, while Naruto came from behind with his sword in his hand, and Nezuko also came out of the trees, but looked different. Almost, Nezuko looked a lot less human and almost a bit demonish, and she had a different aura about her, but Kakashi couldn't quite put a finger on it and didn't have time to investigate deeper at the moment, as he was trying to deal with Sasuke's fireball jutsu at the moment. But as Naruto and Nezuko came from behind, Sasuke released his fireball jutsu, and Kakashi just put his palm into the ground, creating a mud wall. But the only weakness of the mud wall is the fact that it can't cover all 360 degrees surrounding the person that casted the jutsu, so it would only cover Kakashi from the front. And although the mud wall blocked the fireball, Nezuko was already coming in with a new incredible strength and speed, as she just ran in and punched Kakashi, but Kakashi was able to dodge, and Kakashi just leaped back and went onto one of the trees and said, "Oh, that was close. You almost got me there." And Naruto is like, "Yeah, we almost did, but we weren't trying to," as he held up the two bells. And Kakashi was like, "Wait a second, the bells, and Naruto passed the other bell to Nezuko because, he cares more about Nezuko passing than Sasuke passing, and so he just gave the bell to Nezuko and was like, yeah, while you were distracted with Nezuko and Sasuke, I was able to come in and dash through, slicing the rope with my sword, and with that I was able to get the bells without you even noticing. And Kakashi's like, wow, that's impressive. I didn't have my Sharingan active, but to be able to get the bells for me without me noticing, amazing. But they didn't end up using their teamwork, so they pass. And Kakashi announced to the team that they all passed, and with that, Team 7 had become an official team. Now, everyone was really happy, and for the next week or two, all Team 7 did was just doing low-rank missions, like, doing groceries for villagers, helping old ladies cross the road, finding missing cats, that sort of boring stuff. And because the stuff was so boring, Team 7 got bored of it because it was way too easy for them, and they were far above that skill level. Anyways, the next time Hiruzen was going to give them a mission, Team 7 demanded a harder mission because, seriously, this was way too easy. And Hiruzen, knowing that Naruto, Nezuko, Sasuke, and Kakashi were all powerful and capable ninja, decided to let them go on a C-rank escort mission to escort a bridge builder named Tazna. And although this wasn't exactly what they were hoping for, at least they got to leave the village, so they were quite happy. The next day, everybody met up at the gate, and that's where they met Tazna. Now, Tazna, the first impression of Tazna that they get is a lot better in this because they don't see Tazna, the drunk guy, who insults them, but this is a completely sober Tazna who just sees Team 7 and is like, in his head he's like, oh, these are the kids who are supposed to escort me? I mean, I don't know, but I guess, this is what I paid for, so I guess this is what I get. And, yeah. Anyways, with that, Team 7 left the village, heading off to the Mist Village. But anyways, along the way, this was a tiring trip, and they had to walk all the way from the land of, the Hidden Leaf Village all the way to the Land of Waves, which did take a long time, and it was very hot, and it hadn't rained in days. So Team 7 was really exhausted. And that is why when Naruto saw a puddle of water, just walked by a puddle of water, he was extremely suspicious. What would a puddle of water be doing all the way out here and when it hasn't rained in weeks almost? And so he just kept that in mind, looking at Kakashi, who, for as much as Naruto could tell, had also noticed. And this is why when the demon brothers leapt out, Naruto instantly was able to cut off the arm of the person with the poisoned blade. Not blade, but that guy, the demon brother that has a poisonous claw. Yeah, so Naruto, the instant the brother came out, he was able to slice off the arm with the poisonous claw on it. And when it comes to Sasuke, he was able to grab the chain guy by his chain and just do whatever he did in the original. And Kakashi came and was really impressed. He was like, oh wow, you dealt with them pretty quickly. I thought I was gonna have to help. But he's like, okay, well, that was a lot easier than I expected. But Kakashi was also thinking, but why would the demon brothers be after us? This is just an escort mission. We're not supposed to, this isn't a protect someone who's being assassinated mission. This is an escort mission. This isn't supposed to be happening. But he just kept that to himself for now, as they just kept going forward. And as they went on their way, a huge thick mist started rolling in. Now, this confused everyone, although Tazna assured that, this is the land of waves in the hidden mist village. What do you expect? This is literally the mist village, so there's gonna be mist. But Kakashi was like, okay, there can be mist, but this sort of fog, this, you can't see anything. This is just unreasonably foggy. And then he sensed it as he yelled, duck. And as Team 7 ducked, a huge blade flew over their heads and landed on a tree. Now, the instant Team 7 saw the blade land in a tree, a man just jumped on the blade, who is apparently the person who threw it. And this was none other than Zabuza. And he did his old thing where he was like, I am Zabuza, demon of the mist. You must be Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. And so he did his whole introduction and speech, and Kakashi also did his. And, they did that whole thing. And Zabuza was just like, I'm here to kill the bridge builder. And Kakashi was just like, yeah, well, and we're here to protect him. And Zabuza was just like, yeah, I kind of expected that. And so he was like, well, I'll have to kill you to get to him, won't I? And Kakashi replied yes, as Zabuza charged in. And Kakashi and Zabuza started having an intense battle, but eventually Kakashi was caught inside of Zabuza's water prison jutsu and was just stuck. He couldn't really do anything, and he was basically drowning in the water prison jutsu, and he just looked out to Team 7 and said, run with your lives while you still can. And Sasuke, Naruto, and Nezuko just stood there and were like, no, we're not abandoning you here. As Nezuko looked at Naruto and they both nodded, because this place was a water-covered area, which probably was to Zabuza's advantage, but if you know anything about Demon Slayer, it was also probably to Naruto's advantage, because he has water breathing. Now, Naruto went up to Zabuza, and he was walking, then it was a light jog, and then he started full sprinting. And as he slowly started going onto the water, he said, first form, water surface slash. Dang, I almost got that wrong. First form of water breathing, water surface slash. That's like a tongue twister, but except for my stuttering, a blue watery aura started covering Naruto's blade as his speed suddenly increased tremendously, and he just dashed at Zabuza and sliced with his blade. But Zabuza had dodged, having been able to just mostly sidestep and barely get away unharmed. But at the same time, at the cost of being able to dodge Naruto's attack, he had also left the water prison, and Kakashi was now free. But Naruto wasn't ready to leave this entire fight up to Kakashi yet. And so immediately Naruto went back to Zabuza, and Zabuza created a bunch of water clones, and he created like maybe 10 water clones to start attacking Naruto, realizing that Naruto was probably going to be a powerful threat that he would have to eliminate quickly if he wanted to stay alive. But Naruto had other plans. As he said, third form, flowing dance. And I don't know how to describe flowing dance. It's fittingly called the flowing dance, and it's basically just a smooth thing where he just like he just went everywhere from one clone to the other doing zigzag motions and just sliced every single one of their heads off in like not less than a second, but less than like 3 seconds. And this utterly impressed Zabuza. And although Naruto hadn't completely cut off the heads of all of them, since they were water clones, they did get destroyed easily. So, Naruto was able to destroy all of them. And Zabuza pulled out his blade, and they started fighting. But Zabuza, having such a big and powerful blade, almost had the upper hand on Naruto. And not only that, but Zabuza was water walking while Naruto was just trying to stay in the shallower parts so that he wouldn't end up getting stuck inside the water. And Zabuza decided to use this to his advantage as he went all the way to where the water got a lot deeper, to the depth where Naruto would be fully submerged underwater if he were to come. After Naruto saw what Zabuza was trying to do, the only thing that happened was a slight grin on his face as he said, "If that's how you want to play, then so be it," as he jumped into the water with all his might, trying to pull Zabuza down into the water with him. And although he didn't succeed completely, he made Zabuza lose his balance and just kind of like try to swim in the water, because Naruto didn't manage to pull him down completely underneath the water, but he wasn't Zabuza wasn't water walking anymore either. So this Naruto was like, okay, well, it's now or never, wow. It's now or never. As he said, sixth form, whirlpool. And the name of the sixth form should make it pretty obvious what it does. It's basically like a huge whirlpool that literally cuts everything that gets in its way. It's just an insanely OP form. It's actually really OP, but it's actually also really balanced because you can only use it underwater from what I know. So yeah. But this move basically rips Zabuza to shreds, and it doesn't necessarily kill him, but it knocks him out, and it basically flings him out of the water, knocking him into a tree. And after that, Haku ends up coming, pretending to kill Zabuza and saying he is a tracking nin or whatever it's called, and taking Zabuza away. And after this, Kakashi doesn't pass out because he didn't overuse his Sharingan. The only thing he did was watch as Naruto destroyed a Jonin level ninja just easily without a scratch, bro. That he's yo, Naruto is OP. But yeah, after that they all went over to Tazuna's house. But to be honest, this episode has been already going on for quite a little bit already. So what I'm gonna do is, now that they're at Tazuna's house, actually no, basically after they did the whole the tree walking exercise, Kakashi wakes up. Kakashi never passes out because he doesn't have to wake up. But they do their whole tree walking exercise, and they're about to go to the bridge to help Tazuna build the bridge. But that is where I'm going to end off this episode. Okay, so last time we left off, Naruto and Team 7 had just fought Zabuza, and Zabuza had been saved by Haku, and now Team 7 is at Tasuna's house, eating and recovering. Now, this is kind of just how it goes. For a while, Kakashi takes some rest from using his Sharingan a lot, and after a while, Kakashi gets better and decides to teach Team 7 chakra control. So they go outside and they decide to learn, tree walking. And Naruto just is actually pretty good at chakra control because he has done a lot of meditation and that sort of work when training and learning water breathing. So I'm gonna say Naruto learns all the tree walking stuff 2 times faster than in the original. So that does happen. And meanwhile, Sasuke is still trying to go up to the top of the tree, and he's actually really jealous of Naruto because he's just kind of like, Naruto was able to do it before me, that brat. I'll show him I'm better than him. But we don't really care about Sasuke right now, so back to Naruto. Anyways, after Naruto completed tree walking, Sakura had already completed it and was going home, but Naruto wanted more. He was intrigued. He had heard of water walking before, and he saw Zabuza and Kakashi doing it during the fight. And since Naruto has water breathing, he's like, hey, Kakashi, can you teach me to do water walking? And so Kakashi's like, that's a little bit of advanced for your level, but yeah, I'd be glad to. And so they both head off to the lake nearby, and they start training. Now, Kakashi gives Naruto all of the basic tips that he needs, and, Sasuke doing the tree walking and Naruto learning the water walking, they train into the night for hours and hours on end until they get it. Now, Naruto actually doesn't have too much of a problem doing this, because, oh god, I just realized I said Sakura's on the team again. I meant Nezuko, and Nezuko is actually not going to be able to do the tree walking too well, so it's going to take her a lot longer than Sasuke and Naruto, because she does have 90% of the Nine Tails that interferes with her chakra. So yeah, sorry, but if anytime I say Sakura, know that I mean Nezuko, and if anytime I say Tanjiro, know that I mean Naruto, because I keep getting that messed up. I am so sorry, guys, but sorry for going on that rant. Back to the what if. So all 3 of them, Naruto learns water walking too, but all 3 of them, after hours at like 1 a.m. when they come home, they've all learned tree walking, and they're extremely hungry. So after eating like 3 million, after having seconds and thirds and fourths of their food, they just immediately passed out of complete exhaustion. But that didn't stop them from getting recovered and ready to go very soon, the next day or the day after, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, so they just continued to go with Tazuna, helping him out on the bridge. But everything is going really smoothly until one day. Now, suddenly, when they're helping out Tazuna, a huge amount of mist starts rolling in. And Kakashi and Team 7 already know what this whole thing is about, so they're already, ready to just fight Zabuza. And wouldn't you know it, Zabuza and Haku are here. Now, basically, what happens is Sasuke and Haku decide to attack Haku, while Zabuza and Kakashi fight each other. So, yeah. Now, the whole thing with Zabuza and Kakashi goes the exact same, but the whole thing with Haku and Naruto is a lot different. Well, actually similar, but still very different. Now, basically, Naruto is just comes in and ends up getting trapped in Haku's ice mirrors, which is definitely very inconvenient, but I guess that has to do what he just kind of has to do that to, I literally lost what I was saying. Anyways, Naruto gets trapped in Haku's ice mirrors, and Haku just goes into the mirrors, starting to throw Senbon at him, which is pretty hard to dodge, but Naruto and Sasuke at first are pretty much able to dodge it. Now, Sasuke tries to use a humongous fireball to get them out of the ice mirrors. After all, this is ice. It should melt. But little does Sasuke know, he is very wrong. And this is not normal ice. This is jutsu ice? I don't know what you call it, but this is some sort of weird ice. It does not melt under normal circumstances. So the fireball effectively does nothing. And Naruto says it's his turn and says third form, flowing dance, as he does this really insane move where he literally slices at all of the mirrors, literally just like going around in almost like a dance-like pattern and slicing at every single mirror almost simultaneously. But unfortunately, he isn't able to do anything either, even though he does actually get pretty close to doing stuff to Haku, and he still doesn't stand much of a chance, and Haku is still a lot faster. Anyways, after a while, Haku keeps throwing Senbon and ends up hitting Sasuke in a couple of vital points, basically knocking Sasuke out. But for all Naruto knows, Sasuke is now dead. And this fills him with a lot of rage, as suddenly his eyes turn red and they just look different, as an ominous aura starts flowing around him. Haku immediately notices that this isn't the same person that he was just fighting a moment ago. This is someone else completely. A completely different aura about him. And Naruto roars, not like a human, but like a beast, as this incredible explosion of Ninetales chakra ends up nearly breaking the mirrors. And this time, Naruto takes out his sword again. But instead of using a water-style jutsu, his sword erupts in flames as Naruto runs at Haku and breaks straight through the mirrors, slicing his head off clean. And without even stopping, he takes his flaming sword, literally dashing through Zabuza. Like, imagine Thunderclap and Flash, the thing that Zenitsu does, just like dashing through someone and slicing their head off. He's basically doing that, just not really, but at such a speed that it looks like that, and literally just cuts off Zabuza's head. So basically, Zabuza and Haku just get beheaded in like this super OP attack. And now Zabuza was basically already about to be stabbed through the heart by Kakashi, but doesn't matter. Naruto killed him anyways. Zabuza was double killed, if that's a thing. But yeah. Anyways, after that, they both die, and Naruto starts sort of calming down as he goes to check up on Sasuke, as he sees he's awake. And suddenly he calms down a bit more, and he's like, wait, Sasuke's alive? I thought he was dead. And Sasuke's just like, you idiot, you really think I would die to someone like Haku? I've got a lot more to live for. I'm not dying until I kill my brother. And Naruto's just happy and relieved that Sasuke isn't actually dead, so that's on the bright side, I guess. But this is when Gato arrives, and brings with him hundreds of mercenaries. As the mercenaries come in and kill Team 7, nah, I'm just kidding. The mercenaries can't do shit. But, basically, Naruto and Team 7 literally does not even bat, like, they don't even bat an eye. They just, like, summon a bunch of clones, and Naruto just kills all of them. And then the rest of them run away, and then Naruto beheads Gato because he can, and Gato dies, and then the bridge gets named the Great Naruto Bridge, obviously, because Naruto saved them by killing Haku, Zabuza, and Gato. So yeah, bridge gets named the Great Naruto Bridge, and Team 7 goes back. Now, when they head back, Kakashi, reports to Hiruzen saying, yeah, we did the mission, and then he decides to talk to Hiruzen alone after Team 7 heads off, saying that this was definitely at least B or A rank, and that they should get paid for, that. And not only that, but he also explains everything that happened, how Naruto has some sort of really crazy water, fire, sword ability, and he literally just killed Zabuza and Haku. So, yeah. Now, this does impress Hiruzen, and Hiruzen is like, okay, I feel like you guys can participate in the Chunin exams. I mean, Naruto seems to be very talented, so I'll let him compete in the Chunin exams. And Kakashi was thinking of a plot making them sign up for the Chunin exams anyways, so this wasn't too big of a deal. But yeah, afterwards, Kakashi informs Team 7 about the Chunin exams, and so they head off. Now, basically, as they go off to, Kakashi goes off to tell Team 7 about the Chunin exams, they are all happily accept, because, why not? I mean, it's probably going to be too easy for them anyways, so they're like, yeah, obviously, we're doing the Chunin exams. And after, using that week of training that they probably have before the Chunin exam starts, it's time. And basically, when they head over to the Chunin exams, first, obviously, Sasuke notices the Genjutsu, but afterwards, Rock Lee decides to come up to Sasuke and challenge him, and also challenges Naruto, because he is also equally, well, not actually equally, he's a bunch stronger than Sasuke at this point, but he challenges both of them. And Naruto, being the more sensible and smart one out of the two at this point, using his common sense, is like, okay, look, if you're strong enough to be worthy to fight us, then you'll probably make it to the final exams, and we can fight there. And he's just like, come on, Sasuke, we shouldn't be wasting our energy here, we can fight him later. And Sasuke is like, you know what, yeah, you're right, that makes a lot of sense. So they just leave, and Sasuke's like, Rock Lee is like, but wait, I need to fight you now. But he just ends up accepting, and he's like, okay, well, I guess we'll fight later. And, that happens, and then it's on to the first part of the Chunin exams, which is pretty simple. Naruto gets one question right, but that's actually, I think that was all you needed to do to pass the first part. Well, you actually have to do 0, but he doesn't know that. I'm pretty sure the guy said you need to answer at least one question to pass, which was a lie, but that's what Naruto thinks is the truth. So he doesn't need to cheat, he's just kind of smart, so he gets at least one question right. And Sasuke cheats with Sharingan, Sakura is smart enough to do it on her own, and then Ibiki's like, oh yeah, it's on to the 10th question. If you get this right, you can pass, but if you fail this, you will be barred from ever taking the Chunin exams again, and you can just leave now, but if you want to take the question, just know that if you get it wrong, you won't ever be able to take the Chunin exams again. And this goes just the same way. A bunch of people leave, but all of the people important to the plot obviously stay because they have their plot armor. So Ibiki announces that the 10th question was just a trick, and was testing them basically, because there is no 10th question. It was just a tactical deception, or whatever he calls it. And so yeah, that happens, and Anko literally bursts in through the window, being like, "Meet me at the Forest of Death now." And everyone's like, okay, yeah, sure, we can do that, I guess. And so everyone goes over to the Forest of Death, while Ibiki's like, "Anko, there's a door for a reason," but Anko just ignores him and heads off. Now, they all line up in front of the Forest of Death, and Anko explains the rules, saying how this is the Forest of Death. You'll be given one scroll, and you have to get one of the opposite scroll from one of the enemy teams to pass. You have 3 days, I think it was, and be careful, because you might die. And there are no rules about killing, so you may kill. And they all signed that thing saying that they're okay if they, signing that legal contract saying, "Yeah, I'm fine with dying," because they have to. And, they just head over to their gate areas, and Anko is just like, "Start," as she opens the gates. Not the 8 gates, but the gates to the Forest of Death, and they all head in. Now, things are running smoothly for quite a while. One ninja tried to attack them, but was no match against them, and, Team 7 almost got a scroll, but they couldn't quite do it. And then they just started scouting for other teams, and Naruto was able to find another team using his incredible sense of smell, and they were miraculously able to get the scroll they needed in basically record time. And they probably would have beaten the record for the fastest time to complete the second part of the Chunin exams if it wasn't for Orochimaru. Now, Team 7 was literally just heading off to the area where you just, the finishing area for the second part of the Chunin exams, when Orochimaru showed up. And he was just doing his whole, creepy thing where he, does that thing with his creepy snake tongue, and it's like, "Sasuke, I've been waiting for you." I cannot do Orochimaru's voice, neither will I attempt to. But basically, that happens, and immediately all of Team 7 is on guard, because this guy is clearly powerful and also probably not mentally stable. So they're just like, "Okay, we're gonna have to deal with this guy." And Sasuke literally just goes straight in, rushing in, and Orochimaru puts all 3 of them under a sort of genjutsu, and the one that makes them paralyzed with fear. And Nezuko is actually not affected by this, and is basically just continues running. And Orochimaru's impressed by this, and he's like, "Oh, you're the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki, aren't you?" And Orochimaru Orochimaru, including everyone else, does not know that Naruto is the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. So literally Naruto doesn't even know he's the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. Neither does anyone. So yeah. Anyways, Nezuko rushes in, and this is probably when you're gonna get to see Nezuko's blood demon art, or not her blood demon art, but her Nine-Tails art, Nine-Tails ability, whatever it is. And so this is basically when she's gonna unlock it. Spoiler alert. And also, sorry, because in the first part of the exams, I said Sakura again instead of Nezuko. God, I am literally, I don't know what to do, but never mind. Ignore all of that. I do sincerely apologize. I will not try changing up the teams or anything again, because I will mess these names up over and over again. Anyways, Nezuko runs in, using her immense strength and speed to just blitz at Orochimaru. But Orochimaru is equally as fast, if not faster, than Nezuko's current strength, and is actually able to pretty much outmaneuver her and kick her away. But by this point, Sasuke and Naruto were already able to overcome the jutsu, Sasuke stabbing his leg with a kunai to use the pain to overcome the fear, and Naruto just overcoming it because he's a Chad. Anyways, so basically they rush in for Orochimaru, and Sasuke actually stands a really good fighting chance against Orochimaru. And if you do not know, in the original there was a really heated battle between Orochimaru and Sasuke, where Sasuke almost beat Orochimaru, basically using that final fireball to nearly rip Orochimaru's head off. Well, not nearly, he literally ripped his face off, but then the real face of Orochimaru appeared. So, Sasuke literally does that, and basically Sasuke and Orochimaru fight for a really long time, as Naruto is basically watching from the sidelines as Sasuke awakens his two Tomoe Sharingan, because he awakened his first one in the Land of Waves, I guess I'll just say that, and they are just having such a crazy battle, and Sasuke barely manages to just uses wires to tie Orochimaru to a tree, using his incredible fireball to blow off Orochimaru's disguise, revealing Orochimaru himself. And Orochimaru's like, good job, Sasuke. But now, I'm getting bored of fighting you. I'll just end this quickly. As Orochimaru's face turns completely white. If it wasn't already completely pale, I don't even know, but it's literally white, and he becomes that snake, huge white snake thing, and he extends his now incredibly long and scaly neck, coming in to bite Sasuke's neck. But just in time, Naruto comes running in with incredible speeds, dashing through and saying, second form, water wheel, as he does a insane looking water wheel. If you do not know what the water wheel is, literally search it up. It is it is one of my favorite water breathing moves, even though it's one of the most basic ones. And he does that 360 slash thing where he does a front flip and slashes. That's what the water wheel is anyway. So he does an insane water wheel, literally cutting through the middle of Orochimaru's neck and basically decapitating Orochimaru. And Orochimaru, after did this, is basically dead. Well, this body of Orochimaru is dead, although, of course, he will come back from one of his curse marks or whatever. But for now, Orochimaru is completely decapitated, and for as much as I know, a decapitated Orochimaru cannot regenerate himself this early on in the series. And just to make sure, Sasuke just stabs a kunai into his head, just to make sure that Orochimaru is dead, because he's a bit of a weird person that can evade death in any way physically possible. But yeah, they basically make it into the area, and they are actually one of the first people to finish it, except for Gara's team, who barely managed to finish before them, but only because they had to fight Orochimaru. Anyways, after this, the person who is there is okay, too many people have passed, so we're gonna have to do the preliminaries. Now, after he explains how the preliminaries work, the preliminaries start, obviously, if you haven't guessed. And none of the matches really change. Sasuke literally destroys that chakra absorbing guy, because he doesn't even have the curse mark now, so he gets destroyed. And all the other matches go exactly the same, except for now Nezuko versus Ino, because Sakura did not pass. Haha, Sakura is trash. But Nezuko versus Ino goes pretty simple, as Nezuko rushes in to attack Ino, basically destroying her right off the bat. It's not even close. But as a last-ditch effort, Ino barely manages to get that mind control jutsu in, trying to control Nezuko's mind. But Nezuko's will, I would say, is greater than Sakura's, Nezuko, God, I am so bad with names today. Nezuko is basically able to overthrow the Ino in her brain or whatever. I did not quite understand that part of the preliminaries, but she basically does what Sakura does, and then after that, instead of tying, Nezuko absolutely literally just goes ahead and destroys Ino, winning that round. And after that, Naruto and Kiba's fight is just like, Kiba walks in, he's like, yeah, Naruto stands no chance. I mean, I've improved so much. I will prove to him that I am stronger, and then I will be able to become the Hokage. He's thinking that, and basically, he's thinking all of this while he's like, okay, Akamaru, let's beat this Naruto kid. And Naruto's just like standing there like, what, you actually plan on beating me? And he gives Akamaru the food pill, making Akamaru transform into his Super Akamaru form. I don't know what it's called, but he immediately shouts Fang over Fang, attacking Naruto with his strongest move. And Naruto literally just stands there and says, fourth form, striking tide, as he literally goes straight into there. He literally just goes straight into there and just destroys the Fang over Fang, basically dashing through their attack. And well, he could have decapitated them, but he doesn't want to kill them, so he's just gonna heavily injure both Akamaru and Kiba, and they're both out of commission. They're like knocked unconscious after a single move from Naruto. Naruto just used the fourth form and they were all dead. Like, not dead, just passed out. It wasn't even close. Like, not even close. But yeah, that did in fact happen. And, that's basically all for the preliminaries. Everything else literally goes the same. Like Rock Lee's fight and all the other ones that aren't important just go the exact same. Anyways, the instructor announces that they have an entire month to train for the final exam. And Naruto, believing that he has earned some time to rest, decides to go to the hot springs. That, of course, is when he meets Jiraiya. And Naruto does not get the best first impression on him, seeing a old, pervy man literally peeking into the girl's side of the hot springs. And at the instant he does that, he's like, what are you doing there, old man? And Jiraiya looks up and he's like, I'm doing research. Shh, I need to keep looking. As Naruto's like, no, get out of there. And he just like pushes Jiraiya away from the hole he was peeking in from. And Jiraiya's like, oh, come on, I was trying to do some research for my next book. And Naruto's just like, whatever. And Jiraiya just looks at Naruto and he's like, wait, is that Naruto? My grandson? And Jiraiya offers to train Naruto. And Naruto's like, why on earth would I want training from you? For all I know, you're just some pervy old creep. Like, I'm probably 1,000,000,000 times stronger than you. And then Jiraiya reveals that after some emotional damage, Jiraiya reveals that he's actually Jiraiya the Toad Sage. And although it takes some convincing, Naruto does end up believing him, and Jiraiya just is like, okay, well then I will train you. And for the next month, Jiraiya ends up teaching Naruto the toad summoning jutsu that Naruto masters pretty quickly, because he's kind of like a bit of a prodigy in this what if. And I'm pretty sure that's all Naruto normally learns in the 1 month period, but since this Naruto is a bunch stronger, he learns Rasengan. Yeah, I'm just gonna teach him Rasengan. I'm pretty sure he learned the Rasengan in like a little bit more than a week in original Naruto, so I bet this version of Naruto can also do it in this month. And I guess Jiraiya also trains Nezuko a bit because Naruto asked him to. But after that, Naruto, Nezuko, and Sasuke, who has been training with Kakashi, is all ready for the final exam of the final part of the Chunin exam. But unfortunately, that is where I'm going to leave this what if off. Anyways, last time we left off, Naruto was heading off to the final stage of the Chunin exams, part 3. This is where everybody would be fighting in one-on-one duels to see if they are worthy of becoming Chunins. And Naruto and Nezuko definitely are not going to be late for this amazing day because they just really want to become Chunin and they're really excited. So they're going to make sure not to be late. Anyways, the first match of the day is going to be Neji versus Naruto. I almost said Neji versus Hinata there, but that's the preliminaries. We're in the part 3 now, so yes. Anyways, basically, Naruto and Neji just kind of get into their positions, being like, they're getting warmed up, but, Naruto's trying to get warmed up, he's getting ready to fight, and Neji just, instead of warming up, he just starts talking, being like, doing his whole speech on destiny, where he's like, I am destined to win this fight. Your destiny was already prepared before this even started. And, he does his whole thing where he's like, I'm destined to win this. You're nothing but, like, a stepping stone for me. He does that entire thing. And Naruto literally just freaking ignores him. And Neji finishes his huge, 10-minute long speech, and Naruto's like, he just looks up, and he's like, huh? What did you say? Sorry, I wasn't listening. And Neji just gets so mad. He's like, he just immediately activates his Byakugan, and he starts running straight in at Naruto. But little does Neji know, Naruto is a lot stronger than Neji thinks. And so basically, as Neji is running into Naruto, Naruto takes out his sword and uses the flat side of his sword to start blocking all of Neji's attacks. And Neji really can't do much. Well, he can, but for the moment, there's really not much he can do because Naruto is blocking all of his attacks with his thing, his sword. Yes, exactly. That's what I meant. Anyways, Naruto is just blocking all of the moves, and Neji is like, okay, well, it's about time I get this over with. As he says, 8 trigrams, 64 palms. And Neji tries to do that, but Naruto says, okay, well, he says, he just goes in, and he says, first form, water surface slash. And he just literally cuts at Neji. But Neji, being the prodigy is barely able to react in time and is able to use rotation against Naruto's cut. But little does Neji know, this rotation won't be able to take the full blunt of the attack. And as the attack comes in, although Neji is able to deflect it, he still takes a little bit of damage. Well, this is only the first form, so he doesn't take a lot of damage, but he does take a little bit of damage because, this is this is a water breathing technique, and he's slicing a sword through a tiny bit of chakra. I don't know. Anyways, Neji does end up taking a bit of damage through the thing of the attack, but overall nothing too significant, as Naruto keeps going in. And this time, Neji tries again and says 8 trigrams, 64 palms, going right in at Naruto. But Naruto this time is able to, he gets hit by the first 10 ones, but then he's able to dodge away. And he says, third form, flowing dance, as he just does his whole flowing dance thing, literally hitting, Neji from every direction and side possible. And after flowing dance, Neji is basically just knocked unconscious, and so he cannot keep fighting. And that happens. Anyways, after that, there is Nezuko versus Temari, because I made Nezuko pass, so yeah, Nezuko is going to be competing. And there's really not much to cover here, as Nezuko and Temari step into the arena. Temari just kind of takes out her fan and tries blowing Nezuko and everything, but Nezuko literally just dashes behind her and ends up just blitzing her, just punch after punch after punch after punch. And then after Temari uses the 3 red circle fan thing, you know how Tamari's fan is 3 red circles and she can reveal one at a time. Well, she switches to full power and just blows it at Nezuko. And Temari gets such a strong hit on Nezuko that Temari thinks that Nezuko is either dead or completely passed out. But little does she know, Nezuko is the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki, which gives her demon-like healing powers, because, I want this to be like Demon Slayer. So Nezuko literally just straight up immediately heals, and while the referee person was about to announce that Temari had won and Temari let her guard down, Nezuko just destroyed her. Sorry guys, I had to go do something, but I am back. Anyways, so yeah, Nezuko destroys Temari, and it's time for Sasuke versus Gara. Now, this whole fight goes very similar to canon, with Sasuke copying Rock Lee's movements, not being able to get through Gaara's defense, well actually being able to get through Gaara's defense at first, but then when Gaara unleashes the ultimate defense dome thingy, whatever it is, he decides that his only option is to run up the wall, gaining as much momentum as possible, activating his Chidori, and stabbing straight through it. And this gets Gaara to bleed for the first time in his life. Now, anyways, what happens from here is everything goes just the same as canon, where the Genjutsu gets placed, and Orochimaru starts fighting Hiruzen, but just Naruto goes after Gaara. And by the time he arrives at the fight scene, Naruto sees that Sasuke is already extremely injured, trying to fight Gaara. And although Sasuke didn't have the curse mark, he did still end up losing to Gaara, but Gaara was already in his almost transformed state because Sasuke had pushed him pretty far. And after Naruto came in and used one of his water style attacks on him, Gaara was immediately knocked out, and Shukaku, the One Tails himself, came out. Now, Naruto seeing this is okay, well, I know what I have to do. And since Jiraiya taught him the summoning jutsu, he just bites his thumb, putting his hand to the ground, and summons Gamabunta himself to fight Shukaku. And this fight goes literally the exact same as canon, where Shukaku fires his wind bullets, Gamabunta dodges. They use a combined transformation to turn Gamabunta into the Nine Tails, and then Gamabunta holds on to Shukaku, and Naruto jumps off instead of headbutting. Actually, no, that is so perfect. And Naruto, using his super hard head, you know if you have watched Demon Slayer. Tanjiro has like literally the hardest head. He's like the god of headbutts. But anyways, Naruto just headbutts Gara so hard, and Gara wakes up before almost immediately passing out. Well, after Naruto uses his Talk no Jutsu to bring Gara to like the good side, I guess you could call it. But then after that, Gara just immediately passes out from the OP headbutt. But after that, Tanjiro just returns to the village place, I guess, and ends up learning that Hiruzen had died fighting Orochimaru. Now, the reason that Orochimaru was able to kill Hiruzen is because even though Naruto did slice his head off clean and then make sure he is dead, Orochimaru just came back from one of his curse marks or whatever and was able to, come back and kill Hiruzen or whatever. But since he had to make such a swift recovery, since Orochimaru had to, he can't come back to life that quickly, so he had to sacrifice one of his legs, one of his legs. So when he came back, he couldn't use one of his legs, and then Hiruzen also ended up stealing both of his arms away. So now Orochimaru, imagine, he doesn't have any of his limbs except for one leg. That is going to be pretty funny. But anyways, back to the what if. Anyways, Naruto is told that he's going to have to go look for Tsunade, who is going to become the 5th Hokage, because although Jiraiya was asked to become the 5th Hokage, he was kind of just like, nah, I'm not suited for the job, and ended up recommending Tsunade instead. Now, on the trip to finding Tsunade, Jiraiya doesn't teach Naruto the Rasengan, because Naruto already knows the Rasengan. Yeah, but he does teach him something to make his Rasengan stronger. And basically, that's what he trains on the entire time. And basically, they just keep going, looking for any signs of Tsunade. Eventually, they do come across this bar, and they ask where Tsunade is, and this man is like, oh yeah, I saw her somewhere around, that area, and they don't have a lot to go off of, but at least now they know rumors of where Tsunade is currently at. And after just following a bunch of these rumors, they don't end up finding her and decide to rest at a bar for the night. Now, not sleep at the bar, but just take a break, go to a bar, and, eat some stuff. And when they go there, Jiraiya just walks in and sees yellow hair and a green, and green and gray, wearing something green and gray. And after seeing, Jiraiya just immediately recognizes Tsunade, and Jiraiya's like, wait a second, and Naruto just looks over and is like, wait, is that Tsunade? And Jiraiya just walks over there to go check, and realizes that, in fact, yes, it is Tsunade. And Jiraiya just explains the whole situation to Tsunade with, as you might have guessed, Tsunade not accepting Jiraiya's offer to go back to the Leaf Village and become the Hokage. She goes on to talk about how all of the Hokage are trash, and, the role of Hokage is, he keeps insulting all of the Hokage. And this really pisses Naruto off, because Naruto really respects the Hokage and wants to become the next Hokage himself. And he just literally just slams his hand on the table, almost shocking Tsunade. And it's stop disrespecting the Hokage like that. The Hokage are incredible people, and Hiruzen literally sacrificed his life to save the village. And also, don't talk like that about the Hokage. You know, I'm gonna be the Hokage someday. And, you know, he just does this entire speech, and Tsunade's like, who on earth is this kid? Like, who do you think you are talking like that to me, the legend, one of the legendary Sannin? And Tsunade is like, you know what? Okay, how about this? I challenge you, and if you can get a single hit on me, I'll go back to the village and become the Hokage. But if you can't, which you won't, you guys will leave me alone. And Naruto just agrees to this, and they go outside. And Tsunade is just like, immediately she comes in, trying to break the ground and everything. But Naruto is already like ahead of her, and he forms a fully transformed, like a perfect Rasengan, because remember, he knows how to do a Rasengan. And the instant the Rasengan forms in his hand, Tsunade has that moment where her eyes widen. She's thinking like, wait, the Rasengan? Wait, but that's Minato's jutsu. As Naruto runs in with the Rasengan, as Tsunade says, well, if I do the right thing, I can like block the blow. If I time it right, this Rasengan doesn't seem too strong, so I'll be able to block it pretty well, and then counterattack, getting the hit on Naruto, and then I'll win. And you know, Tsunade's just thinking of a huge plan in her head, but little does she know, Naruto literally starts running in, as he says, third form. No, actually no, he just says second form, water wheel, and water wheel is the second form, right? I think it is, never mind. But he infuses the water wheel into the Rasengan, and basically the Rasengan becomes a really OP water Rasengan that, like, you know how the Rasengan is usually like this huge spirally orb? Now imagine all of those Rasengans, those spirals and lines being made up of water wheels that are like extremely sharp and powerful in and of themselves, just packed into this huge orb of power that's already extremely powerful. And Tsunade, seeing this, is like, no, there's no way. He has both Minato's jutsu, and he also built on it, like adding whatever this is to the jutsu. And at this point, she tries to like do something, but it's too late, as Naruto literally slams the Rasengan into Tsunade, just slamming her into the ground, and she gets knocked unconscious. And when she wakes back up, she wakes up and she gets up. She's kind of like, I drank too much last night. And she starts thinking, oh, wait, what happened with Naruto? She remembers everything that happened with Naruto. And she suddenly, looks around and she's like, wait a second, I'm in the Hokage's office? And this is because while she was knocked unconscious, Jiraiya and Naruto just brought her to the village. And she just wakes up in the Hokage office. And at that point, she's mad, but, they made an agreement, so she just decides to be, Hokage, I guess. So, yeah, Tsunade becomes the Hokage, and after that, Jiraiya and Naruto end up going on a 3-year time skip. Now, during this time skip, a lot of stuff happens. Actually, not a lot of stuff happens, but a lot of stuff happens. Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Naruto uses these 3 years not only to learn the Rasen Shuriken, you already know where that's going, but also learning also ending up learning Sage Mode, because 3 years, in my opinion, is more than enough to learn Sage Mode. If Naruto could learn Sage Mode in like a week in original Naruto, this Naruto is going to be able to learn it just as fast, if not faster. Nezuko also came on this 3-year time skip, increasing her physical strength a lot and honing her control over the Nine Tails and her special ability that I was planning on revealing, but unfortunately still didn't end up revealing, because I was going to reveal it during her fight with Orochimaru, but unfortunately I didn't quite get to that, so you'll have to end up finding out when they fight the Akatsuki. And yeah, so you're gonna have to wait for that. Anyways, after the 3-year time skip, Naruto and Jiraiya end up coming back to the village, and Tsunade informs them that Gara was taken and the Sand Village was attacked. Now, I'm not really going to go over the entire Gara retrieval arc because I am extremely bored right now, and I also don't feel like it, and I do not believe you guys really want to hear me go through the Gara retrieval arc. I'm just going to say nothing changes. It literally goes the exact same, except for the fact that Naruto straight up beheads Deidara and Sasori, because, like, I mean, come on. Naruto just kills both Sasori and Deidara. And after freeing Gara and killing 2 Akatsuki members, the Akatsuki are already on to Naruto. They're like, yo, who is this kid just messing up all of our plans? So they're already like plotting an attack against Naruto. So one day Naruto is literally just like enjoying a bowl of ramen in the Ichiraku ramen shop, and he just hears a huge explosion on the other side of the village. And this is none other than the Akatsuki. And Naruto immediately heads out to see all of the Akatsuki members. Well, except for Itachi, because Itachi actually ended up betraying the Akatsuki because, well, I mean, he wants to protect the Leaf Village, and ended up using the last like moments of his life to, after he dies from his disease, or he just tried to stop the Akatsuki before they arrive at all costs, actually taking out some of the, like, a few paths of pain and a lot of the more minor Akatsuki members. So the amount of Akatsuki members here are less, but there are still a bunch of Akatsuki members, and they have literally just broken through the wall. But Naruto is really broken, so basically what Naruto does is he immediately, seeing this, turns on his Sage Mode, because he can, apparently, and he just creates a Rasen Shuriken. But you know how the Rasen Shuriken has that white spiral shuriken thing around it, because it's like, you know, a Rasen Shuriken? Well, this is gonna be the water Rasen Shuriken, where that huge like spiral circle thing around the Rasengan is going to be the water wheel, which makes it 1,000,000,000 times more OP, and it's just gonna be a super buffed Rasengan, and he literally blasts the thing right into there, killing literally, and at this point, after all Itachi did, and after Naruto's super Rasen Shuriken thingy, the only Akatsuki members remaining are like 3 Paths of Pain, Obito, Konan, and yeah, that's really all, because plot, deal with it. I do not care. But yeah. Now, sorry I once again had to go and do something, but I am back. Anyways, basically what happens is Naruto literally just goes in there, basically fighting all of the paths of pain with the help of Sasuke, who now is actually pretty OP and never left the village because he did not get the curse mark, and Sakura, who's now Tsunade's like successor, I guess. Yeah, like literally everyone in the village, Kakashi with his Mangekyo, everyone's fighting the Akatsuki, and if you ask me, that's more than enough to take out all the paths of pain. Well, not all the paths of pain, just like 3 of them and Konan. So they're down, and the only one left now is Tobi, or as we know him, Obito. And this, after the paths of pain are defeated, basically, Obito goes and takes Nagato's eye, placing it in his own eye, his missing eye, switching to his white mask, the one that looks like the one that has the Tomoe on it. So he switches to his white mask, and now this is Obito with a Mangekyo Sharingan and Rinnegan, which is absolutely OP, but whatever. And Naruto and Obito literally start fighting, and everybody's fighting, and Naruto keeps using his water style attacks on Obito, but he keeps phasing through Obito, which really surprises him. I mean, he keeps using all of his attacks, being like using everything that he can, but every single time it keeps just going through Obito until Naruto and Kakashi realize that if Kakashi perfectly times his Kamui with Obito's Kamui, Naruto is able to hit him, and this makes the fight a lot more balanced, but Obito is still on another level. This man has the Rinnegan, and he is absolutely destroying Naruto, as Naruto's like first form, surface slash, and just keeps using attack after attack, and being like second form, water wheel, fourth form, striking tide, and literally just using attack after attack after attack, but none of them seem to work, as Obito gets a blow on him that's so hard it almost breaks Naruto's sword. Naruto steps back for a second and just stays back, trying to consider his options here, as he says, okay, well, I guess I'll have to use my final move, 10th form, constant flux, and Naruto literally just starts running straight in, right, with this humongous water dragon appearing, and this looks so sick. Like, just imagine an incredible, huge, like, water dragon following Naruto's blade. And if you have watched the anime, you know exactly what I am talking about. And he runs at Obito, and Obito's like, water dragon, I can handle this. And what happens is Obito also runs at Naruto at the same time, and as Naruto is about to just like literally slice Obito's head off, Obito takes his creates 2 black chakra rods using his Rinnegan, using one to block Naruto's sword and the other to stab through Naruto's gut. And after that, Naruto just his vision blacks out, and he just wakes up as he sees his father. His father being the user of sun breathing, because that is plot that I included in part 1. But yeah, his Minato has sun breathing, and basically he sees Minato, and Minato basically kind of does the thing that normally Yoriichi does to Tanjiro at like the final Muzan fight. Not really. Naruto doesn't like immediately master everything in this one go, but basically Minato kind of just passes on all of that breathing from sun, like all of that sun breathing power down to Naruto, and Naruto opens his eyes again, seeing that the wound that had once been there from being stabbed by Obito was now gone, as his dragon started turning red from the flames, as his water dragon turned into a fire dragon, as Naruto literally cut clean through the black chakra rod and just sliced Obito's head off in this insane fashion. Like, if you have seen Demon Slayer, you know that moment where Naruto chops off the Lower Moon 5's head, I think it was. This is literally that. And if you do not know, it is like the most epic move. Naruto literally just uses an incredibly sick-looking fire-breathing move, sun breathing move that literally looks like a firework to just slice off his head. But yeah, that's what it looks like. And with that, Obito dies, and so does the Akatsuki. After that, basically, Naruto just ends up, this is like a time skip, because the what if is over, but I'm just gonna say what happens in like later when Naruto grows up. He does end up mastering sun breathing, and he becomes Hokage or whatever. But to be honest, I really didn't get a lot of time in this what if to get to a lot of the other things that actually happens in Demon Slayer with Tanjiro. But since everything went by so fast, I really couldn't have enough time to progressively give Naruto all of these boosts, so I just kind of gave him everything at the end. Well, I didn't, but I only gave him some of the power-ups, and then I'm just leaving all of the other stuff that happens to when Naruto grows up and becomes Hokage. But honestly, that is the end of this what if. Make sure to stick around to see what my 400 sub special is going to be. And by the way, just a sneak peek, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I might do an MHA what if for the first time on this channel, so make sure to look out for that. But that's all I wanted to say. Goodbye, and see you guys next time. Movie's gonna be coming out tomorrow.